Welcome to this B1 Printer Delivery e-learning session on the email report actions personal exchange option. So here we are in Business One, and on the report action we have the option to use exchange servers. I have a separate e-learning on how to set that up, and in addition to that, no matter if you want to use personal exchange or not, you still need to go see that video on how you set up the main part of it, because personal exchange is something on top of it. And in that video, I explain I don't have access to an Exchange server right now, so I am relying on the help file, just like you would if you hadn't had this video. But I will guide you to every single little step here. So if you use Exchange, the drawback of it is that it will use a shared email address, some kind of account mail or info mail or something like that. But if you want the personal touch of each user having the personal exchange and having them send it either from their own mail or getting them into their personal draft folder, that is where you need personal exchange. And if we have a look at the help file here, you simply just look into here and say personal exchange. And as we talked about in the previous video, Exchange can either be basic, meaning on-premise Exchange, or modern, meaning Office 365. And the way it works is that when you then go, if you turn on personal Exchange, nothing really more to set up right now, but the second you press the system here, you will end up, we can actually simulate it by just putting in some dummy data here. It won't send, but we can simulate at least. This. Now we have a modern one. And we put in personal exchange. And the first time it will, whenever we email, ask you for your credentials. And you can see there's an email password, username and password, and then there's this checkbox. Had it been the basic, it wouldn't have done it. Another thing you might see is that even if I just press preview, it will ask for it. And this is because of the dynamic nature of these buttons. Yeah, email is probably the email button, but you could technically set up that this button did email. So for those reasons, we have set up that this will come up every time you ask until you have filled it out, because this is only something that happened once. Because we just need your credentials stored somewhere. You can't really have your manager go in here and say, Bob is having this username and password, Jill is having this, and so on. So that is the reason why it will pop up for the user the first time. And if you just have Office 365 or basic authentication, you simply write your username. That would be your email address. And your password, whatever that is. And then it will send. In my case, this will totally fail because this is my wrong error that is my wrong password, so it won't help. And I certainly don't have any exchange probably here. But if it was right, it would just begin to send, and the credentials of my user would now be stored in the system where nobody else can get to it. You could get rid of those early credentials if they are wrong, or you don't want to have them in the system anymore by going to Administration, Add-ons, B1 Usability, Module Configuration, B1 Print Delivery, and there is a Reset Personal Exchange. So now it's just reset. So had I put something in, it didn't ask me anymore. I could now get the credentials again. In this case, we put them in. And then there's this use interactive credentials. And this is if you have your setup to be two-factor authentication. So with some authentication app or a password and so on. And we can't really do that just in the GUI of SAP. So for that reason, if you turn this on, you can see the two fields will gray out. And when you press OK, you will actually be sent to the real logon with your Microsoft account and everything. So all the two-factor, all the extra security questions and so on can be put in. And once you've done that, it will store the system so it can actually send on your behalf. But again, it's a fairly involved setup, and only if you want that personal touch from your separate systems. Most people just set up totally automated systems where you don't do anything specific here. So that is everything that is to Exchange, and the reason why it asks it like this. A final note is you can see there's no personal exchange and server delivery method because there's no one to put in the password, username, password. There's no specific person. That is a central system that sends out mails on your behalf in a server delivery method, and that's the reason why it's not there. But that is everything on personal exchange. Hope it was beneficial, and have a nice day.